Uh-oh, I have a blonde ape messing up my brand new planet. That must mean it's time for the third installment of Dragon Ball Dissection in this year's Dragon Ball Dissection December. Gotta love it. And I gotta love that my regular voice is mostly back. That was a very rough week and a half. No joke, I lost my voice literally the day after I recorded the first video. Anyway, hope everyone muddled through, and my sincerest apologies to those of you who actually preferred my sick voice. I think it's fair to say we have reached the biggest, most iconic, most beloved section of the series here. Even people who hate Dragon Ball GT, which is probably a lot of people, begrudgingly admit this is pretty good. Goku arrived on planet Sufru with his regrown tail only to get his butt kicked by Baby. However, upon looking up at the Earth, it functioned as a substitute moon, transforming Goku into a great ape for the first time since the 21st Tenkaichi Budokai. However, this time, that great ape is golden, like a Super Saiyan. And of course, he rampages all over the place, causing trouble for Baby and spectators alike. Oh, where'd all your smug bravado go, family? Not so superior to Saiyans now, are we? Not so interested in beating up Pan now that she's saving our asses, are we? Baby flashes back to the past, monologuing a totally natural, as you know, we Sufurians were wiped out by great apes, despite him having to dig into Vegeta's memories in the very last episode to understand what Goku was. Hey, glad your brain meat's finally caught up with you. After whining and getting beaten up for a while, Baby decides he should be able to do this too, and runs off to tell his mom. His wife. His slave wife. They're into some kinky stuff. Likewise, the elder Kaioshin seems all caught up on how Saiyans work, expositing how forcibly pulling out Goku's tail caused the training to go wrong. How cutting off his tail will turn him back to normal, but how doing so will be stupid, given it will set them right back to where they were before. This is despite the previous episode where his reaction was, "Tail there? What else we need? What wrong? I don't know." Well, I'm glad the characters are a bit sharper here. Too bad the art isn't. For some reason, they decided to hand one of the most important episodes over to Last House. Yay. Look at these wonderfully drawn people. Gorgeous. Chef's kiss. No notes. Well, I have to talk about the elephant, the ape, in the room. This golden monkey is not only visually different from prior Ozaru, the show mixes it up with the sound design as well. Traditionally, great apes simply emit a collection of bestial roars. Now, those are brought down in the mix a bit in order to share the stage with Nozawa Masako's natural screams. Think of the fusion character voices. It's kind of like that. It's a very interesting experience to listen to. It's a whole episode of low screams mixed with high screams, and don't we all scream for that? The fact is, I've never been able to come to a personal consensus on this. It gets grating, I'm not going to lie, but there are actually moments where it seems kinda cute, especially when Goku is inquisitive. There are other moments where it can be quite appropriately unsettling. It's 80% annoying, 20% endearing. I appreciate what they were going for. It definitely makes this form stand out. It reinforces that Goku is actually in there, ready to come back out and reassert control. But it is a lot to deal with for a whole episode. I think they were on the right track, but they maybe should have toned it down a little bit. Either swap the mix so the roars are predominant instead of the screaming, or only have Nozawa reassert herself in specific moments that are appropriate to hint at Goku's nature. Maybe only have it happen towards the end of the episode. Pan returns to the battle with Mr. Satan in tow and attempts to bring her grandpa back to normal. She shows him her uniform from the 28th Budokai, something she apparently kept with her the entire time they were on their space quest, sure why not. But while Goku is not impressed with the epilogue to the original series, and I'd wager he'd like the Kanzenban version even less, he does take notice of the photograph that falls out of the uniform. It's a picture of the Dragon team having a beach day together seemingly before the tournament, as the kids seem a bit younger here. It's nice getting to see those character designs again given how little exposure they had. Goku finally latches onto that memory, even tasting Pon's tears to remember the saltiness of the ocean. This is great. It's perfect. Just as perfect as Goku seeing the full Earth was last episode, resolving this through Pon is the perfect way to do so. As I see it, Pon develops through her relationships with two other characters. I've made it clear I find her development with Giru kinda terrible, as they make her such an awful person through that dynamic, that her improvement only matters to me in so much as it stops Giru from getting abused, not because I care about her. But her other dynamic shift is with her grandfather, which is handled much better. She develops from someone dismissive of and embarrassed by him to the only person able to rein him in. That's because she's the only person able to engage with him, to tap into the love that got Goku to this point in the first place. I like that we're not just dipping into the righteous anger transformation again. This is a transformation rooted in compassion, the compassion that Baby insists Saiyans like Goku don't have, the compassion that Baby has discarded in himself in order to achieve his revenge. Because of Pon's intervention, Goku regains his humanity and transforms into something else. It's definitely, absolutely Super Saiyan 4, or so says the Elder Kaioshin. Now, let me just get this out of the way as quickly as I can. I've been somewhat critical of GT's non-Toriyama designs. Character designer Nakatsuru Katsuyoshi is a fantastic artist, but I just can't seem to get on board with his designs for this show. There's just an over-designed quality, or even sometimes a grotesqueness to them that doesn't seem to fit Dragon Ball. But I do like Super Saiyan 4. I always have. It's certainly very different from classic Dragon Ball, but this time it manages to be appealing in its own right. Even by this point in production, it is so refreshing to have a Super Saiyan form that isn't primarily hair dye. In 2023, it's a freaking oasis in the desert. I love that there is something primal about it in the shaggy hair, the fur, the tail, Nozawa's stone-cold delivery, the weird border around the eyes, the magic pants. Okay, so there's magic pants involved. That's a little goofy. That it puts Goku in an adult body is a bit of a stretch. Well, now GT gets to have its cake and eat it too. It can cast Goku as a little kid, but still appeal to the hardcore cool factor with this. I'm not saying it's perfectly logical, but I can overlook those things. I love that its trajectory sets it apart from other Super Saiyan forms. In order to achieve it, you have to grind coffee beans, pull down your pants for an old pervert, have a space tanuki ravage your body by magically turning into a giant pair of pliers, look at the Earth from another planet, remember that the sea tastes like pee, and okay, you know what? When I list it all out like that, it sounds kind of stupid, but it's not, okay? And as different as it is from its predecessors, no, I don't mind that it's called Super Saiyan 4. It was made clear a long time ago that these were all just names Goku came up with out of convenience, not some specific or preordained natural progression. He even skipped over numbering forms he didn't care about anymore. Super Saiyan 4 simply means the next thing that's better than Super Saiyan 3, and that's fine by me. I guess I need to address the idea of the Golden Great Ape and/or Super Saiyan 4 existing as the true manifestation of the legendary Super Saiyan. Whatever that even means by this point. Is this actually what the legend was talking about? Or is it more what the legend was talking about than the other legendary things we've legendarily seen over the years? Now, the Golden Great Ape only appears briefly in Dragon Ball GT, but people tend to conflate it with the anime-only musings Vegeta has of a legendary Super Saiyan back in the Frieza arc of Dragon Ball Z. I know this because the Dragon Ball Wiki explicitly claims that these two things are one and the same. Darn you, Dragon Ball Wiki. That's primarily because those musings of Vegeta are accompanied by an imagined creature that looks like this. Well, I think another big reason for that in the West is because of some dub rewriting shenanigans I'm not going to address. Outside of that, it's pretty obvious this representation is not supposed to be literal, as, Vegeta wasn't there, and more importantly, he's talking about what he thinks Goku is at that moment, which is this, not this. But I'll ignore that for just a second to admit it does kinda look similar. Granted, this thing doesn't have a tail, and it's not even clear if its fur is golden or if it's just a reflection of the light. After all, this was long before it had even been demonstrated that Super Saiyans would be associated with golden hair. Nothing in Toriyama's story suggests that prior to the form appearing. Even Toei's own misbegotten attempt at creating a Super Saiyan got the golden aura right, but never thought of changing the hair color. Normally, I'd dismiss scenes like this as not relevant, but this is Dragon Ball GT, specifically a continuation of the animated series, so it is potentially on the table. Clearly, that bit of filler was not predicting what Dragon Ball GT would develop here several years later, but it's certainly possible GT was drawing on it as inspiration. It is close enough visually that it's not hard to see why people have linked them together as the idea of the true Super Saiyan. An evolved golden form of the natural, typical transformation the species goes through seems like a natural fit for a legendary Saiyan. Tying Super Saiyan 4 to such a form certainly helps validate its claim. To be clear though, the series never asserts that, never implies that this is what Vegeta was talking about back then. However, the Perfect File guidebook, while still never tying itself to that specific imagery, does its best to imply that this is the legendary Super Saiyan without ever truly committing to anything. It was designed with the concept that Super Saiyan 4 might be the legendary Super Saiyan who appears once every 1,000 years. Yeah, way to really nail that down. In another section of the book, it reads, "Surely this brutality, destructive power, and large scale are a sign of the legend that tells that they will love destruction and slaughter. One can think of the Golden Ozaru form as perhaps fit to be called the true Super Saiyan." Whether or not the series is committed to that idea, it at least seems willing to promote itself as such. Speaking of promotion, I think I really should promote this wonderful Kanzenshuu forum thread by Herms called Legend of the Legendary Super Saiyan of Legend. It's just a wonderful collection of all the various mentions and interpretations of what a legendary Super Saiyan is supposed to be. Well, up to 2011 at least. It's a great resource to point me in the right direction for topics like these, and it's just a funny, entertaining read. I'll put a link to it in the description. And I'm saying that now because I'm writing 5 videos at once, so I'll almost certainly forget by the time I upload this. But by saying this in the video, someone might check the description and notice I've forgotten it, so they'll tell me so I can fix it. And now all of you can check in the comments for the comments telling me that I've forgotten it, so you can laugh and reply to it and feel like you're part of the process. It's a whole engagement thing. So anyway, there are a bunch of naked Gokus that result in Super Saiyan 4, why not? Goku's not sure he can turn back to the way he originally was, but he insists he needs this body to stop Baby. He flies off to Baby's headquarters where Baby and Bluma are expositing that wrong information about 17,000 Zeno being needed to transform. It's not 17,000, it's 17 million, as stated by Vegeta in the Saiyan arc. When Baby wonders why he doesn't transform like Goku does, Bluma explains it's because Vegeta doesn't have a tail. Baby curses Vegeta, clearly angry that this barbarous Saiyan isn't quite as Saiyan-like as he's supposed to be. Goku breaks in, Bluma tries to run off, but Goku stops her. Her response is to take offense at him addressing her so casually, and tells him to go to hell. You really get the sense that this bothers Goku more than anything else. That's nice. I mean, it's a nice moment, not a nice thing to happen. So yes, Goku beats the crap out of Baby for a while in typical new transformation fashion. Baby's starting to panic, but in just under 8 minutes, Bluma has somehow come up with a satellite array capable of amplifying Brute's waves to the point that it can force Baby to transform, even without a tail. Wow, that's impressive she came up with an unprecedented, untested scientific miracle and accomplished it so fast. It's so impressive as to be almost completely unbelievable. She says her device can amplify Brute's waves 1,000-fold. So, let me do the math here. We have 17,000 Zeno times 1,000. That would be 17 million, which is exactly the amount needed for a regular transformation. Good job. However, as the Elder Kaioshin points out, transforming without a tail means that Baby would have no weaknesses, no means of being stopped. So, of course, once Baby transforms, he has a tail. GT, you're doing so well right now. I don't know how you end up contradicting your own story this easily. What's fun about this, though, is that Baby isn't so sure he wants this at all. He's desperate, sure, but he's afraid of losing his rationality. I think that represents a line for him, the point beyond which he's become too much like the type of battle-crazed Saiyan he hates. Baby is wonderfully hypocritical. His whole scheme is to destroy Saiyans, but requires him to make use of Saya power, to inhabit Saiyans and turn Saiyans to his cause. He condemns them, but needs what they have. In the previous episode, he makes fun of Great Ape Goku for relying on raw power, even as he himself can't do anything more strategic than spam ki blasts, like a Vegeta. He is becoming everything he hates. Literally. So despite his protests, Bluma works the machine and he becomes a Great Ape. And he's still ugly. I can't really bring myself to care all that much anymore. It's an improvement. It's still mostly just the golden Great Ape, which is fine. The hair kind of bugs me. It just looks like an ape wearing a really bad Elvis wig that someone dipped in bleach. It's fine enough. Anyway, the Great Ape Vegeta baby starts rampaging, even wiping out his own followers. Bluma is panicking, worried that Baby Sama will destroy the planet and sabotage his goals. Goku decides to teleport Vegeta Baby to the Kaioshin realm, something the Elder Kaioshin decidedly does not approve of. However, just as Goku gets close enough to carry it out, Baby targets him, revealing that he was pretending the entire time. After all, he says, Baby is still Baby. All of that Great Ape stuff is Vegeta, which has nothing to do with him. Now, I completely agree that Baby would logically keep his reasoning as a Great Ape. I just don't agree with his reasoning for keeping his reasoning. Or at least I feel it's quite a walk to get there when the answer seems far more obvious. Vegeta on his own doesn't lose his reasoning as a Great Ape. That's justification enough. What isn't justified at all is why, when Vegeta Baby talks in this form, his mouth doesn't move. It's never explained, it's never addressed. He just becomes like Garfield, except that everybody can clearly hear him. I don't know, it's weird. However, as a strategy, I love this. Again, Baby has no claim to moral superiority at this point. He is burning his own followers alive just to trick Goku. He spends the entire rest of the episode threatening Goku's family and the entire population of Earth, all of whom are loyal to Baby. He does not care about them. He only wants to use them to hurt and manipulate Goku. That's fantastic. I mean, it's fantastic for the story. I'm not advocating. Anyway, we get another Kuririn cameo here. For failing to get them to Planet Sufru, his family is punishing him by shopping. Because women be shopping! They're, of course, treating him like crap. But the second the Earth starts shaking, Maron is all, Papa, help me! You know what? Shove off, you ungrateful brat. And look at that, Earth has so embraced Baby that cars have Baby's image on them. Buildings have him. They sure work fast. And somehow he looks slightly less terrible in this artist's rendition. Go figure. Fed up with all of this, Goku introduces his Jubei, or 10 times Kamehameha. It seemingly isn't given a very auspicious introduction in this episode, though. It's certainly not the GT Kamehameha that can fix everything. This is one of those giant attacks that exists only to create a big dust cloud that settles and reveals the recipient of it isn't damaged at all. You gotta love it, right? Baby's been sparing no Gyalikos, eventually using one to push an impossible choice. Dodge it and doom the Earth. But Goku doesn't have time to counter it. Even though Baby telegraphed the whole thing and gave him plenty of time to know what he was doing. At any rate, Goku tanks the blast, falls into a pit, and Baby prepares to finish him off. If only that 10 times Kamehameha had more going for it. But who cares about that? What matters about Goku is the 1996 Dragon Ball Fashion Extravaganza! Yeah, I'm back, baby! We still haven't talked about Son Goku. Magic pants aside, GT Goku is a fun little guy. His outfit here is a clear evolution of his look from the end of the previous series. Moving away from his iconic Kame variants, Goku adopted a dogi of his own, which both the manga and anime represented as blue and gray. The GT design is largely the same, except swapping out the original pants for yellow pants and changing the colors of things like the wrist guards. I'm not sure if we're supposed to believe this is the same outfit he left the tournament in, just in the new GT color palette like Trunks' hair. Not even Toriyama ever colored the end of series pants as yellow in his version. Because of that, I'd rather assume an incident like what happened at the end of the Red Ribbon Army arc. I'm going to say that during their training, Oob accidentally lit Goku's pants on fire, forcing him to find a replacement even if they don't match. I'd hardly call this my favorite look for Goku, but I like it. The yellow pants break up the outfit quite well, creating contrast the previous look didn't have. It also renders it very uniquely GT, which is something the show definitely needed. And GT remains committed to this look, unlike Dragon Ball Super, which created its own awesome Goku look, and then chickened out in favor of wallowing in the familiar. So there we go. A lot has happened. A lot continues to happen. And it looks like we're going to finish up this battle on Christmas Day. How about that? But I offer no guarantees. So please join me next week for more Dragon Ball Dissection December. I'd love to spend the day with you. Of course, if you're an avowed present peeker like I am and can't wait until Christmas Day, it is available to view right now for all $10 or higher patrons. It would certainly be a Christmas gift exchange I would appreciate. I will see you next time.